Hello, IB history scholars. It's Mr. Newcomb, and today I would like to focus on Joseph Stalin, and more specifically, take a look at his rise to power. Now, in order to understand Joseph Stalin's rise to power, we need some historical context. And so that's going to take us back to the Russian revolutions of 1917. There'll be actually two Russian revolutions, and it is the second one in which the Bolshevik Party will take power. From about 1917 to 1922, Russia will find itself amidst a civil war, and it's during the civil war that the Bolsheviks are going to consolidate their power. Now, Vladimir Lenin is the leader of the Bolshevik Party, and he will bring a political form to communism. Now, a key element of the communism that Lenin creates is what we're going to call democratic centralism. Another way that we look at it is sometimes what we'll call the dictatorship of the proletariat. The idea of democratic centralism is going to be key here. The true democracy lies in party members' obedience to the authority and the instructions of the Bolshevik leaders. And so what that really means is the Bolshevik leaders knew what is best for the party, which also means what's best for the state. And so again, this is where we refer to it as the dictatorship of the proletariat. Now, Lenin is going to work on establishing his authoritarian rule from about 1917 to 1924. And what embodies this authoritarian rule? Well, creation of the Communist Party. And so that will ensure the creation of a one-party state. The development of the Cheka, which is a secret police. Banning factionalism, which is a key element of democratic centralism, purges and showcase trials to get rid of political opponents, opposition groups, and anyone who might pose a threat to the Soviet Union. The nationalization of private enterprise. Under a communist state, private enterprise will be taken over. Now, this nationalization will also be part of what is sometimes referred to as the new economic program or policy, which is NEP, and this replaces war communism. And this is going to be the economic plan to accelerate the industrialization of the Soviet Union in order for it to truly emerge as a communist state. Now, there will be a cultural revolution that will also occur within the Soviet Union. After all, Lenin and the communists are going to try to create a new man. And so that means a reshaping of society. And so a cultural revolution will occur. And Vladimir Lenin, as well as other communist leaders like Leon Trotsky, are going to try to export communism internationally. And so they're going to form a group known as the Comintern. And this organization is going to try to spark other revolutions in Europe and around the world. Now, the government structure that will be created by 1924 is going to be highly bureaucratic. The party is going to be really most important here. The government is made up of a small component, but the party is really going to be dictating policy and the direction of the Soviet Union. And the government is just pretty much enacting the wishes of the party. Now, the Central Committee is going to be very, very important. This is going to have really what we'll call the vanguard of the communist leaders. And it is from the Central Committee that ideas flow. It is important that if you are going to be the leader of the Soviet Union, that you will have an influence not only in the Central Committee, but in some of the other organs of the government structure of the Soviet Union. And one person that will have that will be Joseph Stalin. So taking a look at how Stalin emerges as a leading contender to become that next leader of the Soviet Union, because Vladimir Lenin is going to die in 1924. When we look at his role in the 1917 revolutions, one would say he's more behind the scenes. Lenin and Trotsky are going to play more of a visible role. Well, here Stalin is going to get more involved in the Soviet or the communist newspaper, which is known as Pravda, which basically just means um, truth. But we'll see that after the revolution, Stalin is going to amass a number of positions. And this is going to be very important when it comes time to when who is going to take over for Vladimir Lenin. Stalin will have a variety of positions throughout the Soviet government as well as the Communist Party. He is the People's Commissar for Nationalities in 1917. He's a liaison officer between Politburo and Orgbureau, which basically means he's going to be able to appoint individuals on various committees and agencies. He becomes head of the Workers' and Peasants' Inspectorate in 1919, so he's going to be able to dictate policies and appoint managers. He becomes the General Secretary of the Communist Party in 1922. And all positions gave him the power of patronage. And so, again, what patronage is going to be is the ability to appoint and at least influence. Now, in 1924, Lenin dies, and he doesn't really appoint a successor. But Vladimir Lenin did write a testament, which is sometimes, when we think of a testament, it's like your last wishes. And it is in this testament that he describes his feelings about Stalin as well as about Trotsky. And it is clear that Trotsky and Stalin are going to really emerge as the potential next leader. And what Lenin writes about in it is not really good descriptions of Stalin and Trotsky here. He looks at Trotsky as maybe too intellectual, too aloof, maybe a little too abstract, possibly is going to be capable of leading the Soviet Union, but his arrogance is going to be a problem, and he knows how to really isolate himself. So that's problematic. For Stalin, he looks at him as being very rude, abrasive. He's found ways to become very, very powerful within the Communist Party. So it's clear that Lenin is not comfortable with either Stalin or Trotsky. Historians would tend to say that Lenin is really leaning towards Trotsky as the successor, but the fact that he dies without naming is going to set up a power struggle. And this provides an opportunity for Joseph Stalin. And he is going to emerge from the power struggle by 1929, realistically, as the sole leader of the Soviet Union. And he's going to be able to do that through legal means, and then also by changing the structure of the Soviet constitution and government, and being able to just use his influence to really isolate his opponents, that he does emerge again as that leader in the power struggle by 1929.